All right, good morning, neighbors. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good, good. All right, welcome to the 2025 Community Association Summit. I'm Vincent Moulden. I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Constituent Services. So, thank you, Matt. All right, so I have my team here with me today. We have Christy and Jennifer and Tiana and Stacy and James in the back there. They are at the Office of Community Engagement and Constituent Services. They help me to make sure you guys get all the answers and everything that you need here in the county. I was once described as the county executive's left foot as opposed to his right hand. And so if I'm his left foot, these are my toes. Thank you, toes. We also just onboarded a new team member. So we have a new person, Natalie Banks. She's starting with us. So if you were keeping count, the county executive has 6 toes on his left foot. So, sorry. Anyway, thank you to everybody for being here today. We appreciate you coming out to educate yourself and be committed to becoming a better community leader. We held this session last year for the first time. Is anyone here for the second time? Could you raise your hand? Great. Thank you for coming out again. This event is all about strengthening partnerships between the community and county government, because when we work together, we resolve problems faster, and we make smarter decisions, and we build stronger neighborhoods. So we're excited to share resources, answer your questions, and hear directly from you about what matters most. So I will now turn it over to Matt Minahan, who, the chair of Growth Action Network, who will share a few words and introduce the county executive. Matt?
Thank you, good morning. Glad you're all here. We have a really interesting and good day planned for you. Those of you who are officers in your community associations have probably the second worst job on the planet. The first being the parent of a teenager. And our grandson is turning 13 and we are getting a second taste of all of that. The Growth Action Network is co-sponsoring this with the county. We're very excited and pleased. Vincent's organization and office has organized our second one, and it's the program looks fabulous. I hope you enjoy it as much as I think you will. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We're non-political, but we do pay attention to what's going on in county government. Our primary function, we look at every single piece of legislation that the county council considers, and we evaluate it on a couple of criteria. The first is it environmentally sustainable development, and does it improve the quality of life for citizens in the county? And those are the two things we're always looking for. Is it environmentally sustainable, and will it improve the quality of life? So we work on things like transportation bills. In fact, on Monday, Mr. Pittman's staff is going to brief us on the coming transportation adequate public facilities law, which will be introduced in June or July. And so we'll have an early look at it, and we're going to say, is it environmentally sustainable development, and does it improve the quality of life for citizens in Anne Arundel County? So look at transportation. We were very involved in the redevelopment bill, very involved in some of the MPDU bill, the housing bills that the county has passed over the last several years. We've had a look at Mr. Pittman's early versions and have had a chance to comment on them, and our comments are taken seriously. And the 4 or 5 comments we submitted on redevelopment when it first was proposed all made it into the bill. So thank you to Mr. Pittman, thank you to your staff. But that's what we do. We advocate for environmentally sustainable development and for quality of life. We have about 20,000 members, most of whom are members by virtue of their community associations being members of GAN. We charge our community associations the princely sum, wait for it, of $50 a year. I know, can you imagine? And $10 a year if you want to be an individual member. Our meetings with the county executive, the director of OPZ, the director of DPW, the transportation people are open to our members. So you can sit in on our meetings and ask questions via chat and participate in all of these topics when we're talking about modifications and land use and zoning and traffic and transportation and the lights on River Road and the very kind of functional day-to-day things that affect our lives every day, that really drive environmentally sustainable development and quality of life. We're very excited about this because we know as community association members and leaders, you have a lot to do with both of those topics. What's going on in your community is totally a function of what you guys are doing. And you're the place where citizens come to complain. And you're the place where citizens come to fight with each other. And you're the place where citizens come to fight with you. So you'll notice there's a topic on today's agenda on conflict resolution. Because we know that that's a real big pain point for a lot of community associations. There's a topic on here on stormwater success, and how to pay attention to and know what stormwater facilities are in your community and how they need to work. There's a topic on here on managing your finances and getting your financial review done, and why that's important and how to get it done. So the topics here are really built to make your jobs easier. We couldn't be more excited that this topic is on the agenda and that County Executive Pittman has committed to it and is sponsoring this with GAN for the second time. So if you're interested in knowing more about GAN, I'll be around. We've got a table up here. We've got several of our board members are here. We'll be glad to talk to you and explain more about GAN. But I don't want to hold you up here. County Executive Pittman is here, and he is going to speak to his own commitment and why he believes that this is an important topic for not just for those who are here, but for the whole county. Mr. Pittman, thank you.
I don't know what he's talking about teenagers. I was just texting my 15-year-old twin boys, pleading with them to get out of bed and cut the grass before their mother asks them so that the grass is cut for Mother's Day. Wouldn't you think that would be a nice thing to do? I will find out soon whether they got out of bed. Yeah, I'm really glad this is happening. I'm really glad that it happened last year. And I'll tell you, people in politics in my office, they often say, oh yeah, I believe in community engagement, all of those things because it sounds good. I've got a year and a half left in this job, term limited after 2 terms, it'll have been 8 years. And I start to look back and I reflect on the things that have happened. And I sometimes even look back further than that on my whole life. And I noticed that everything of the big wins in my whole life. I used to be a community organizer with Acorn back in Chicago and then in Des Moines, Iowa, and the director of national campaigns. And it was building neighborhood groups and in a city, in any given city. And then those neighborhood groups would work on their little neighborhood issues, and then they would work on citywide issues. And sometimes they would do campaigns that were citywide. A lot like Growth Action Network, actually. And all the wins we ever had were the ones where the most people turned out, the ones where the most things happened. And then I gave all that up and I started doing farming and horses. And I wanted to make sure retired race horses didn't go to slaughterhouses at the end, but they got second careers. And there were all these people in this country who could train these horses for second careers. So we started a nonprofit organization. But it was really a mobilization of all of those people. Really successful, still happening, because people came together and organized. And then I became county executive. And of course that happened because people came together and organized. But all of the things that I'm most proud of that we did, the things that were really hard, where it was going to be either hard to get council votes, or we were going up against the development interests of the county who were used to getting their way, or we were just doing something that even sometimes it's the bureaucracy, it's the county government who doesn't want to change. But it was always the stuff that a lot of people showed up for that we won, and that was hard. And so for those of you who, in your community association get beat up and it's like, okay, I'm running it because nobody else will, and it's sort of a burden. I know some of you get a real charge out of it. And I hope that a part of that charge is that, you are doing the most important work in a society, in a community. You are bringing people together, and you are the only way that hard things happen. You are the only way that change happens. Whoever's in office, you can move them eventually if you organize enough people. So, so why would we as county government want to facilitate this kind of organizing when we're the ones in power and you're going to come and hold us accountable? And it is that. It is that we need for the hard stuff to happen, for that to happen. And we also want you and your organizations to be well informed so that we can skip all the stuff that is just about information and learning. We make sure that our agencies are there for you and that you are doing the homework so that when you come and you ask for something, it's actually doable, it's legal, it's all of those things. I don't know what will come next. I mean, Growth Action Network has been an important organization, but we don't always agree with, obviously. Matt is a real pro at being collaborative, but he's also somebody that I don't like being on the opposite side from, because he can be a real difficult person when he's on the other side, as all of you can, and that's a good thing. So we're doing this together. We're doing this at the Office of Community Engagement and Constituent Services, which I have, when it started, it was just Constituent Services, and we changed the name, even though it's a long name, but we had to have community engagement in there, but we didn't want to throw out Constituent Services either, so it's both. And so part of their job is to facilitate the organizing, the community engagement, and make sure it happens well. So thank you to Vincent and your team, and James Kitchen, who I think is here during the session, or maybe he'll be here at some point soon, who started in the first term with building community engagement and constituent services. It's become, maybe more than a left foot. It's maybe a whole leg. It's maybe a big part of the body of how we operate in the county. I also will note that in the budget that we just presented to the county council, which you can still advocate for or against or make changes in through the hearings in the county council, that when I look at the big stuff, it was a tough budget year where we couldn't do a lot of new stuff. There just wasn't a lot of money going around. There was a fair amount of revenue growth, but also a lot of cost growth, and so not a big year. But the stuff that we did that was expensive and hard was the stuff, again, where a lot of people showed up for. So people really wanted, they liked the police department, they liked police public safety and community safety. And the Real-Time Information Center was a heavy lift to do 5 new positions to help the officers so that they have the information that they need when they're out there to make sure that they're effective and they're safe. That was a big one. The school system was really the huge lift. Being able to pay teachers a 3% COLA as well as their step increase, and being able to add new special ed teachers, and the highest priority things. We never give the school system everything they ask for, but we gave them $52 million more than last year, which is kind of a record. And that was, again, because budget town halls, they mobilize, they organize, they got the teachers, they got the parents, they got students that show up, so they're strong. We have a new Department of Animal Services. Guess what? People love animals, and they show up to fight for animals, and they did at the budget town halls. And so we've got 5 new positions to create this new department to really do the job the way it should have been done all along, because it was in a crisis situation where it was being run, with leaning on volunteers and not always getting the work done. And then, the food bank. People are terrified that in this economy, that hunger is going to be even more of a problem than it's been, and they advocated at budget town halls, and we stretched things and we did it. So if I look at all the things that we increased spending on, it was the stuff that people advocated for. But I think I've made my point on it's important to organize and it's important to be advocates. Really glad that conflict resolution is part of this, really glad that we've got experts in community associations here. Really glad that stormwater is part of it, because stormwater is one of the things that community associations are sometimes responsible for, don't know what to do. Thank you, Steve Miller, for helping and participating in that. And then I think James is going to be doing a session on how you engage with the county government, like what works and what doesn't work. And you can make your own decisions about tactics, but he'll give you some advice. Really glad that this is happening. I know we had something like 110 registries, and sometimes people forget they registered for stuff, so maybe there's some aren't here. But are you live streaming?
We're recording.
We're recording, okay, and it is going to go out, so people can participate. So you can spread it out to folks after the fact. So Thank you all for participating.
All right, thank you, County Executive Pittman. One more time.
I was at the Mental Health Awareness Day today, and somebody made this rock and gave it to me, not to throw, but it says, "Be kind." It has a little B on it. So maybe I'll put that up here to remind people. Should I do that?
These are kind people. They'll be kind.
I'll put it in my office to remind me, and I promise not to throw it at anybody.
All right, thank you, County Executive Pittman. Let's give him one more applause.